Hey guys, what's going on? Scott Barnes here, and this week I'm going to show you guys how to fix those patches, holes, and gaps that all beardsmen have and go through when growing out their beard. So pay attention, take some notes, let's jump ship, we're going to dive right into it. Here we go! Okay, alright, you ready? Let's go. Now you can be a young beardsman or an old beardsman. No matter what, we'll always have patches, holes, and gaps in our beards. And I wanted to show you guys how to use style, tools, and product to alleviate those problems. Now patches and holes usually exist within the cheeks and under the mustache line. Mine usually exists right here, or I have one on the other side right here. Now we can also get a couple patches within the sideburns or our bottom portion of our chin line. And these are common areas, no matter how thick a beardsman beard can get, that we can have struggle or gaps that we need to fill in by using products or tools. Now let's start with gaps. This is a very big common thing that happens when growing out our beards. There's gonna be certain areas in our beard that just won't grow hair. For instance, in my example is within my soul patch right here. Let's come a little closer. Right under my soul patch, if I lift this up, and on the other side, I have very to little no growth in that area, and I would consider that a gap. I also have another good sized gap under my lip right here by my mustache. And this is where the style comes in to alleviate that problem. So to handle the gap between the mustache to the cheek, we're gonna use a mustache wax. I think today we're gonna do Bossman brand for the application of beard products, just because why not, right? So I'm gonna use Bossman brand mustache. I really enjoy this stuff. I've been using probably 90 to 100% of the time. You guys know how I like to do it. Give yourself a good amount, a glob of mustache wax, put it in both fingers, and then we're just gonna work it in. But mainly on those gaps, we're gonna work on the edges of our mustache, okay? After all that, I'm gonna press out on both of my mustache, sides of portion of my lip, and then I'm gonna go down. And that's gonna cover up the gap of the mustache lip. And if you need to, you can always use a little help to push it to the side. And adding a little bit of extra product to those side portions of our hair is really gonna eliminate that gap, because those hairs now are gonna be visible to the eye. Now that I got my mustache all filled in, we're gonna move to the soul patch area where I think I've got a big gap, like I showed you earlier, right here on that portion side of my soul patch. So I'm not gonna really use mustache wax into my soul patch. That's just not my thing. I like to keep my mustache wax within my mustache. So I'm actually gonna bring out my pomade, all right? And I'm just gonna get just a little bit. I don't need a huge glob. I'm talking just a little bit, all right? Same kind of thing. I'm just gonna go really light within my hands. I'm gonna spread it out as much as possible. And I wanna go up into the side and then down. I just wanna get all those hairs that I can to get thick, okay? And already I can feel that things are looking and feeling a lot better. And of course, you know I love my whirly twirly brush to help it out. So just bring it down and look at that, you guys. Just having a little bit of product within the mustache and the soul patch, we've just alleviated 2 gaps within our beard game. Not only do we fill in those gaps and those holes, we actually added some extra length to the beard. The visual aspect of looking at that beard and having extra product into it is actually looking like my beard hair is going from the top portion of my lip all the way down to the bottom portion of my beard, and that's what we want. Now that we completed the mustache and the soul patch, let's kind of move on to the hair and a little more to the beard, all right? Now, as I apply my pomade to my hair, I actually want to bring in some of the product down into my beard. This is especially for you guys that are having gaps or patches in their beards. Remember when I said earlier that a lot of beardsmen can have a lot of gaps and patches within their sideburns and their lower portion of their jaw? This is where I like to use a little bit of pomade, okay? Take a little bit of that pomade as we're putting it in our hair and just thickening up our hair. That little bit that's left, I'll take and I'll brush it in the sideburns and that lower portion of my jaw within my beard. Now this is before I'm gonna add my beard oil or my beard balm. The best way to put it, it's like putting a thickening agent on a beard, and then afterwards you're putting in oil to seal it up. And then after that, by all means, put in your oil, put in your balms, or put in your jellies, whatever works or what you like to use. I highly recommend using a brush to brush in the product, or even using a hairdryer at the same time. That's gonna evenly distribute all the product that we put in a very consistent manner within all of our beard. So that way each hair has a consistent amount of product, so that way all the beard looks consistently thick. Now let's solidify it and add a little bit more volume, okay? Let's keep going on the Bossman brand. Let's use some of their jelly, all right? Let's use a good amount. I like to use a lot of the jelly, all right? Let's get it nice and worked in. And this is gonna take everything and it's gonna seal the deal, all right? Make sure you guys are flexing that beard out. You're getting every square inch of that beard. Use those nails to exfoliate and bring down, all right? And just like that, using those styling tips and products the right way, we can increase our beard game by 100%. Now I know you're saying, you're like, Scott, that's the basic stuff. Like, I already knew that. Well, I'm glad you stuck around, because this is where it gets a little advanced. Now, back when I was younger, I had a big problem growing out my cheek line because I was young. I didn't have a big cheek line, and that has to go with age, right? 20-year-old, I didn't have one. I just had the NSYNC jawline. So within age, I thought, you know what, maybe I'll put in some beard product or hair dye to thicken up my beard. And to tell you the truth, I'm all for it. I did it when I was younger. I wanted to have that darker goth looking beard. And to tell you the truth, I really enjoyed it at that time. And even when we get older in age, our beards and hairs are gonna turn different colors. And I am all for having a consistent and smooth looking transition beard to the hair that looks all the same. Now I'm gonna use a common spot where actually a lot of barbers use, and this is a cool trick for you guys to actually extend the beard line and make it look longer. And this is a cool trick to show that your beard can look fuller and thicker. Now, I actually used to do this back in college to give my jawline a more definitive line. And to tell you the truth, a lot of barbers have mastered this look. Now, dyeing and coloring our beard can be an intimidating thing, but be confident, because if you buy the right color and you do it the right way, you can't go wrong. Especially if you have a darker colored beard, you really can't go wrong. But for me, I struggle, and maybe we'll get away with this. Go to Target. I got a Just for Men beard coloring kit. It was $8. You can't beat it, all right? It even comes with a fun brush to help you out. Now definitely go a little lighter on the color when it comes to your beard. If you go darker and you're a red or a blonde haired guy, you're gonna notice the product that you put in if you go darker, because especially if your hair is lighter on top, they're gonna be noticing that, hey, something's not right. So my opinion, go lighter. That way you can leave it in longer or shorter. And if you need to put more in, you can always put in more. Now I'm gonna open everything up. I'm gonna get it mixed up, and I'm gonna show you where I'm lining it. And that way you guys can get a good point of reference of how I'm actually lining up my beard. It looks like dye got a lot easier. I just gotta mix these two in and let's have some fun, all right? Looks like this is the color base. All right, so this looks like one portion hair color. Looks like this is the conditioner portion of it. So we'll put that in and then we'll mix. Now I'm gonna take my dye, I'm gonna find the line that I want, and I'm gonna find where I wanna shave it, and I'm gonna go down on the dye into the patch. So if you have a blonder or spottier or thinner area, this is where the dye is gonna help out with those white hairs, and it's gonna fill it in, okay? Now I wanna have my line right here, and we're just gonna take that and just go down. Okay, looking good, a little gobby, but we'll get it. There we go. So take that line, and we're just working it in. All right, go up to and as high as you possibly want. I suggest to go up as high as you can, but definitely want to blend in into the lower portions of your beard. That way we get a nice good blend, okay? And my last key tip would be definitely pull down into the lower portions. That way it looks like it's fading in into the beard, all right? Now, if you're like me and you watched Drew's video a few days ago, he did a great video about gray hairs. And this is a good way to alleviate if you want to not have them by getting some dye out and coloring them up. And just like Drew said, those gray hairs are gonna be thicker and coarser, so we're just covering it up with some color. So our beard's gonna be colored and thicker and coarser, so everybody wins. Now I think I did a really good job with the color. I can already tell that it's gonna blend in really nice. I'm gonna let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna get the razor out. We're gonna line it up and show you guys that having that gap or that patch will alleviate it. Dun, 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 dun. Listen, it's been about 5 or 10 years since I've done it, and I'm telling you guys, with the confidence, the right color. Look, I just added an extra ½ inch, and look on this side, I think I added almost maybe a full inch, but like at least a ½ an inch on my cheek line right there, just by putting a little bit of dye. So let's refine it out. I'm gonna get my straight razor and we're gonna bring it down. That way we got a nice, good looking line. Now I'm gonna bring out my straight razor. I'm gonna create a nice sharp line. That way I've got a great, no patched looking beard. Looks like my skin's looking pretty moist, so I'm gonna negate the shaving gel and just go straight to the razor dry shave. And we're just gonna come down. And we're just getting all those loose hairs. I'm telling you guys, this is crazy. Look we just elevated just with a little bit of dye, and you can see where the beard hair just needs to grow and overlap this portion of the beard. But look I just elevated. We created a little bit more gap, but that just means that I can push down with the razor and shave it down. But if you had a gap or a patch right there, we just filled it in with just a little bit of dye. Now I probably could have let a little bit more dye stay in, but all I have to do is now shave down this line right there and my patch should be alleviated. And look at you guys, we nailed it! Not only did we fill in those holes and gaps within my soul patch and mustache, but we just rocked it with that hair dye and filled in those patches within the cheeks and that lowered portion of the jaw. It just takes a little bit of product, some style, and a little bit of tenacity, and you guys will rock it out and do a great looking job. And just those few things alone can make your beard go from shaggy to chic. And I love doing these videos for you guys, putting in products, lining up the beard, trying new stuff, and showing you guys how to make your beard look the best that it can be. Like always, you guys, like, subscribe, and favorite. Check me out on Twitter, check me out on Twitch, check me out on YouTube Live. I'm streaming at least 3 to 4 times a week. That way I can hang out, talk, and interact with you guys. Love you like always, and I'll see you on the flip side. See ya!